The distress
Alert!
beacon
Anomaly
had been
detected.
broadcasting
Source,
for 6
Sector 4.
standard
Shields
cycles
up.
before
Engines to
anyone
full.
answered.
Now.
Aboard the Galactic Confederation research vessel Starwood Hope, Ambassador Vree of the Thelonian species watched his crew die one by one. The Carvan warships had come without warning, without declaration, without mercy. 3 of his 17 crew members were already gone. The ship's hull groaned under continuous weapons fire, and the emergency lighting painted everything in desperate red. "No one is coming," his navigator whispered, clutching a wound on her arm. "We are too far into the outer rim. The Confederation fleet is 14 cycles away." Vree closed his 4 eyes slowly. He had sent the SOS on every frequency, including the primitive radio bands that most civilizations had abandoned centuries ago. A last desperate act. A pointless gesture. Then the scanners screamed. Something had dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Not one something. 47 somethings. The Carvan Admiral Drex watched his tactical display with growing confusion. The signatures were unlike anything in his database. The vessels were angular, brutal in design, built without elegance or ceremony. They looked like weapons shaped into ships. Each one radiated heat signatures that should have been impossible for vessels their size, suggesting internal power sources of extraordinary violence. "What civilization are these?" he demanded. His science officer's voice trembled. "Admiral. The registration codes, they are human." Silence fell across the Carvan bridge. Every spacefaring species knew of humans. Not because humans were the most powerful. Not because they were the most technologically advanced. But because of where they came from. Earth, a planet of such savage, relentless, contradictory life that most xenobiologists studied it the way others studied natural disasters. Humans had evolved on a world that tried to kill them every single day for 4 billion years. Evolution had not made them fragile. "Open a channel," Admiral Drex ordered slowly. The voice that came through the speakers was calm. Almost conversational. That was somehow worse than shouting. "This is Admiral James Kowalski of the USEF Relentless, commanding the 7th Rapid Response Fleet. We received a distress call from this location. I'm looking at a Confederation research vessel taking fire from what my weapons officer tells me are Carvan military ships." A pause. "He's very excited about that, actually. He's been wanting to field test our new rail systems. I keep telling him to be patient." Admiral Drex straightened. "Human. You are outnumbered. We have 19 warships to your 47, Kowalski corrected pleasantly. And I heard what you said. Outnumbered." Another pause, longer this time. "Son, I grew up in Detroit. I don't know what that word means." The battle lasted 11 minutes. Vree watched it from his damaged viewport, unable to fully process what he witnessed. Human ships moved with terrifying aggression, closing distances that Carvan tactical doctrine considered suicidal. Their weapons fired in sustained volleys that overwhelmed Carvan shield harmonics through sheer relentless volume. 2 human vessels took critical damage and continued fighting. One was visibly on fire internally and still maintained attack formation. The humans did not retreat. They did not recalculate. They did not pause. They pressed forward. Admiral Drex attempted to withdraw at the 8-minute mark. The human fleet pursued at speeds his engineers had not calculated as physically survivable for biological crew members. Later, Drex would learn that human crew members sustained those maneuvers through sheer physical conditioning, biting down on mouth guards and breathing through the gray edges of consciousness. They had trained for this. They had enjoyed training for this. At 11 minutes, 12 Carvan vessels were destroyed and 7 had surrendered. The rest had fled into deep space, carrying with them a story that would permanently alter Carvan foreign policy. Admiral Kowalski himself came aboard the Starwood Hope with a medical team. He was shorter than Vree expected. Broad-shouldered, gray at his temples, with the calm unhurried manner of a man who had simply completed an errand. "You all right?" he asked Vree directly, as if they were old neighbors. Vree stared at him. "You came. We sent the signal and you actually came." Kowalski looked mildly puzzled. "Yeah. Someone was in trouble." He said it the way one might explain why water was wet. Simple. Obvious. Requiring no further elaboration. Vree would later write extensively about that moment in his memoirs. About how the most dangerous species in the known galaxy considered rescuing strangers across the void of space to be entirely unremarkable. Because to humans, it was. That, Vree concluded, was the most terrifying thing about them.